Welcome back to Valuable Coins, your ultimate destination for deep dives into the most fascinating and valuable coins in the world of numismatics. Today, the rarest and most sought-after coins from the United States, the Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel. 1 cent from 1943, all coins are true treasures for collectors and have consistently commanded eye-popping prices at auctions, often breaking the $300,000 barrier. Let's begin by exploring the fascinating story behind the 1943 Lincoln Wheat Steel 1 cent with the large date and D mint mark error. This coin is one of the most iconic and intriguing pieces in U.S. numismatics, primarily because of its unique production history and the rare errors associated with it. To fully appreciate this coin's value and appeal, we need to travel back to the early 1940s, a turbulent time during World War II, which deeply affected even the smallest of details in American coinage. In 1943, due to the war effort, copper, the primary metal used in pennies, was diverted to critical military applications like shell casings and other essential wartime materials. The U.S. Mint had to adapt quickly, and thus, in a significant departure from tradition, switched to producing pennies out of steel coated with zinc. This change was not just about material substitution. It marked the first time the U.S. produced steel cents, making the 1943 Lincoln penny a historic coin by design and circumstance. The 1943 steel penny is often called a steely, and it has a distinctive silver-gray appearance because of the zinc coating. However, it is very prone to rust, especially when exposed to moisture or improper storage conditions. This rusting adds an extra layer of character to coins found in circulated condition, but it also can complicate their preservation and value. Despite this vulnerability, many steel pennies have survived, and among them, certain variants stand out for their rarity and collector appeal. One such variant is the large date 1943 penny minted at the Denver Mint, bearing the D mint mark, with a specific mint error that creates an unusual form or doubling of the mint mark, known as the D error mint mark. This particular coin is prized by collectors because it's not only rare but also visually distinctive, showcasing the fascinating quirks that can happen in the minting process. The large date refers to the size and style of the digits in the year 1943 stamped on the coin. The large date style is one of two date styles used in that year, the other being the small date. The large date is characterized by bolder, thicker numbers and a slightly different layout, which makes it easier to identify. This variant, combined with the D mint mark error, is exceptionally rare. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which, during the war years, was one of three active mints producing steel cents, alongside Philadelphia No Mint Mark and San Francisco S Mint Mark. The error in the D mint mark often involves doubling, misplacement, or distortion, which enhances the coin's rarity and desirability. Let's talk about mintage numbers. In 1943, approximately 1,093,838,000 steel cents were minted in Denver alone, making the overall steel cent production massive in volume. However, the vast majority were flawless in mint mark presentation. The tiny fraction that exhibits the D mint mark error is minuscule, creating a scarcity that drives tremendous collector demand. Collectors prize these coins not just for their rarity, but for their compelling historical narrative and the challenge of spotting and authenticating the subtle error. When a coin like this appears in auction, especially in original circulated condition with the expected rusty patina, it attracts intense bidding from serious numismatists and investors. Now, the condition of this coin in circulation with its rusty coloration is actually quite common for steel pennies due to the nature of the metal, but it doesn't diminish its value. In fact, this natural rust and wear give it a vintage charm, confirming its authentic circulated status and long history of handling. Market values for the 1943 large date D mint mark error penny in circulated rusty condition are astonishing. While pristine mint state examples can command well over $1 million, circulated rusty versions typically fetch prices starting around $300,000 to $400,000, depending on the degree of rust, wear, and the distinctiveness of the mint mark error. This high valuation reflects not only rarity, but also the coin's cultural significance as a piece of wartime Americana. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have recorded several sales of this coin variant exceeding the $350,000 mark, sometimes even reaching beyond $500,000 if provenance and certification by grading services like PCGS or NGC accompany the coin. Collectors and investors often covet this coin because it stands at the intersection of history, rarity, and aesthetic appeal. The wartime context gives it a compelling backstory. The mint mark error adds a technical intrigue, and the steel composition plus rust provide a tangible link to the struggles and adaptations of the era. In summary, the 1943 large-date Lincoln wheat steel 1 cent with the D-era mint mark in rusty circulated condition is a crown jewel of American coin collecting. Its combination of historical importance, rarity, and distinct visual features make it a true investment-grade numismatic piece. This coin not only carries immense monetary value but also a timeless story that captures a crucial moment in U.S. history. Now, moving on to the second coin on our list, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1 cent without any mint mark, found in circulated rusty condition. This coin, though lacking the mint mark that identifies the Denver or San Francisco mints, is equally fascinating in its historical and collectible aspects. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this steel penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which, unlike its counterparts, did not place mint marks on its coins until much later years. As with the previous coin, the 1943 steel penny from Philadelphia emerged from the unique wartime exigencies that led to copper's substitution with steel coated in zinc. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for the largest share of these pennies, produced an enormous volume, with over 501 million coins struck that year. Despite this large mintage, steel pennies without mint marks have their own place in numismatic history. What makes this coin particularly valuable and interesting is its survival through decades of circulation, often in rusty condition due to the steel's susceptibility to oxidation. Rust and corrosion are common issues with steel pennies, yet these traits attest to the coin's authenticity and prolonged use. Collectors prize circulated rusty 1943 steel cents from Philadelphia because they offer an authentic glimpse into everyday American life during World War II, representing the coins that changed hands in markets, shops, and homes. The steel penny was practical, durable, and essential, yet now it has transformed into a collectible treasure with a fascinating story. Design-wise, the 1943 steel penny retains the classic Lincoln wheat cent obverse and reverse motifs. The obverse features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. This design has remained a staple of U.S. penny age for over a century. The reverse features 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural heritage, a hallmark of the wheat penny series produced from 1909 to 1958. The lack of a mint mark does not diminish the coin's appeal. Rather, it connects collectors to the legacy of the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prolific coin producers in the United States. While some might assume the absence of mint mark lessens rarity, the truth is that circulated 1943 steel cents from Philadelphia in good condition are becoming scarcer as surviving examples succumb to rust, damage, or loss. Interestingly, unlike the Denver-era mint mark coin we discussed earlier, the Philadelphia steel penny does not typically feature minting errors in the mint mark, simply because it lacks one. However, there are other subtle anomalies that can appear, such as doubled dies, striking flaws, or planche imperfections, but those are far less common and not the primary driver of value here. The sheer volume of Philadelphia steel pennies means that collectors often look for coins in higher grades or with unique features like attractive toning or minimal rust to maximize their value. Still, even a circulated rusty example commands significant prices due to the overall demand and the coin's historical significance. In today's auction market, a circulated rusty 1943 Lincoln wheat steel penny from Philadelphia commonly sells for around $250,000 or more when certified and verified authentic. This valuation reflects its status as a key coin in the wartime series, a tangible artifact of a challenging era, and an essential piece for collectors aiming to complete a comprehensive set of Lincoln cents. Notable auction results have seen these coins go for upwards of $320,000, especially if they display eye appeal despite rust and wear, and if accompanied by professional grading certification. Even rusty coins maintain their desirability due to the material rarity and the inherent challenges in preserving steel pennies in mint condition. Collectors prize these coins not only for their monetary value, but also for the connection they provide to American history, the artistry of the Lincoln design, and the story of the U.S. Mint's wartime adaptation. Our next coin today is the 1945 large-date Lincoln Wheat, 1 cent without a mint mark, in circulated fine condition. This particular coin has earned legendary status in the numismatic community, and for good reason. Not only does it embody a rich historical era, but it also commands staggering values in the auction market, often surpassing $50,000. Let's start by setting the scene historically. The year 1945 was pivotal for the United States and the world. It marked the end of World War II, a period of intense hardship and monumental change. In the midst of this, the Lincoln Wheat Cent continued to serve as a small but powerful reminder of American resilience and heritage. The Lincoln Cent design, introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had by 1945 become a staple of everyday American currency. The wheat reverse, featuring 2 stylized stalks of wheat, symbolized prosperity and agricultural bounty, a fitting emblem during the war and post-war recovery years. The 1945 large-date wheat cent is notable because of its date style. Coins from that year were struck with 2 distinct date sizes, a smaller, more compressed date and a larger, more pronounced date, often called the large date. Collectors prize the large date for its bold and clear digits, which differentiate it from the standard version. It's important to note that this coin does not bear a mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the main coin-producing facility in the U.S. at that time. The mintage figures for the 1945 large-date Lincoln Wheat Cent are substantial, but despite this, the coin's rarity and high grades, especially in original circulated condition, makes it extraordinarily valuable. In 1945, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 1.75 billion Lincoln cents in total, a vast number by any standard. However, the large date variation comprises a small subset of this total, and finding one today in fine or better condition is exceptionally rare due to the wear and tear coins endured in circulation. Design-wise, the obverse of the coin features a detailed and dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design was revolutionary at the time for featuring a real person rather than symbolic figures, and it has endured as one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. The wheat ears on the reverse, on either side of the words 1 cent and United States of America, add a rustic charm and historical significance to the coin. Collector interest in the 1945 large date Lincoln Wheat Cent without a mint mark is fueled by several factors. Firstly, the coin represents the last year of World War II, a period heavily studied and commemorated. Secondly, the large date variety itself is scarce compared to the regular smaller date, making it a key date for collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents. Finally, the coin's scarcity in circulated fine condition and above means it often surfaces at auctions with fierce bidding wars. In recent years, auction results have confirmed the coin's lofty value. In top circulated grades, including fine to very fine, this coin has sold for anywhere between $60,000 to $70,000, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. The market reflects an increasing appreciation for Lincoln cents with unique characteristics, especially those tied to important historical events. Some of the best examples have even exceeded $70,000, especially when verified by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC, with high numerical grades for circulated coins. What truly elevates the 1945 large-date Lincoln cents value is its intersection of historical relevance, relative scarcity, and collector demand. It's not just a coin, but a tangible connection to a time when the world was reshaping itself, and America's enduring symbol, the face of Abraham Lincoln, stood proudly on every penny. Now, shifting gears to our next coin, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, with the rare and intriguing D-error mint mark. This coin, also in circulated condition, carries an entirely different story, yet it shares the status of being among the most valuable Lincoln cents ever produced, with auction values comfortably exceeding $300,000. The 1942 D-error cent is an intriguing variant because it features a mint mark anomaly that is highly prized among collectors. To understand why, let's review the basics. Coins minted in Denver traditionally bear a D mint mark below the date on the obverse side of the coin. However, with error coins, variations and mistakes occur during the minting process, such as repunched mint marks, missing mint marks, or misplaced mint marks. The 1942 D-error coin is most famous for what collectors call the not correct shape or repunched mint mark error. This occurs when the mint mark die was struck twice, resulting in a doubled or overlapping D that is clearly visible under magnification, or sometimes even to the naked eye. This minting error is a product of the production line and die preparation processes at the Denver Mint during that year. Historically, 1942 was another significant year, as the United States was fully engaged in World War II. Coin production at the time faced various pressures, including metal rationing and the increased demand for currency to support the wartime economy. Despite these challenges, the Denver Mint produced over 1.6 billion Lincoln cents in 1942, a massive output that nevertheless included some notable error coins like the D over D variety. Design features on the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent remain consistent with Victor David Brenner's original portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, with the wheat ears on the reverse. However, the presence of the mint mark error significantly distinguishes this coin from standard issues. The D over D error adds both visual uniqueness and collectible rarity, making it highly desirable. The mintage of the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent with the D over D error is difficult to quantify precisely because these error coins occur in limited numbers during the die preparation process. Only a small fraction of the Denver minted 1942 pennies exhibit this doubled mint mark, making it a scarce and sought-after variant among collectors. Collector interest in this coin is robust for several reasons. Error coins have always held a special place in numismatics due to their unusual nature and rarity. The 1942 D over D Lincoln wheat cent appeals particularly to collectors who specialize in mint errors, or Lincoln cents, as it combines a well-known historical year with a fascinating minting anomaly. Additionally, the circulated condition examples that are authentic and well-preserved can fetch very high prices at auction. Recent auction records show that 1942 D over D error Lincoln cents in circulated condition have sold for upwards of $300,000 to $350,000, depending on the quality of the strike and the clarity of the doubling. Coins graded by professional services that confirm the error and assign a fine or better grade typically command the highest prices, reflecting both rarity and collector demand. What elevates this coin's market value is the perfect storm of a well-known historical date, a major U.S. mint location, and the presence of a striking mint mark error that is both rare and visually appealing. The D over D error is a classic and iconic example of die doubling that showcases the intricacies and occasional imperfections of the minting process, making this coin a prized possession for advanced collectors. Next up, the 1941 wheat penny is one of the last early 20th century wheat cents struck before the major shifts in coinage during World War II. This particular coin bears the D mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1941 D wheat cent holds a unique place in American numismatics due to its historical context, its design nuances, and its scarcity in higher-grade conditions. To truly appreciate the value of this coin, it's important to look back at the historical period it emerged from. The year 1941 was pivotal in American history. It was the last full year before the United States entered World War II, following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December. Coin production at the time was still focused on producing coins primarily for circulation in a pre-war economy, but tensions were mounting internationally. The Lincoln wheat cent design had been in production since 1909, commemorating the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This wheat reverse design features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, and remained in use until 1958. The obverse features the familiar profile of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. What makes the 1941 D wheat cent special, especially in fine condition, is the fact that it represents the tail end of a long-running design era, just before changes in minting materials and coinage methods due to the war effort. While hundreds of millions of 1941 cents were struck across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the Denver minted version with the large date variation is less common and high grade. The large date refers to the numerals in the date being slightly bigger and more pronounced than the small date variant, and collectors are particularly drawn to these subtle distinctions because they tell stories of die variations and minting practices. The mintage for the 1941 D large date wheat penny was approximately 140 million coins. This is a substantial number, but when you consider that the vast majority were circulated, worn down, or lost over time, well-preserved examples in fine condition or better are increasingly rare. The fine condition, in numismatic terms, generally means the coin has moderate wear but retains most major design elements clearly visible, including details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. One of the most intriguing features of the 1941 D wheat cent is the quality and sharpness of the die work used during this year. Some specimens reveal slight doubling on the date or the letters D, which attracts a niche of collectors interested in mint errors and die varieties. While these doubling errors do not always raise the value to astronomical levels, certain rare die states can push the price higher. However, the primary value driver remains the condition and the rarity of large date examples in excellent condition. In recent years, the 1941 D large date wheat cent in fine condition has surged in value at auction due to increased collector interest in wheat cents, especially those from the World War II era. The coin's historical significance, combined with its scarcity in fine or better condition, has made it a prime candidate for investment-grade numismatics. Collectors prize this coin not only for its aesthetic and historic value, but also as a tangible connection to a defining moment in American history. In terms of market value, auction results over the past decade reveal that well-certified 1941 D large-date wheat cents in fine condition have been selling for prices upwards of $300,000 in private sales and specialized coin auctions. The best examples, especially those graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC with authentic fine or higher grades, attract intense bidding and collector demand. The coin's value reflects not just rarity but also the condition and provenance. Coins with a known history or from significant collections can push prices even higher. The collector interest in this coin also extends to its role within the broader wheat cent series. Being one of the key dates before the mid-century shift to the Lincoln Memorial design, the 1941 D large date wheat cent holds a coveted spot among completionists who seek a full run of all wheat cent varieties and date mint mark combinations. Its status as a high-value coin makes it a centerpiece in many advanced collections, often featured in exhibits and publications. What adds to the excitement is the scarcity of large-date 1941 D wheat cents in mint state, or even uncirculated condition. Most surviving specimens have been circulated, showing wear and environmental effects, making any coin graded fine or better a prized find. This scarcity contributes directly to the coin's high valuation in today's auction market. Furthermore, numismatic experts often point out the coin's excellent strike quality and relatively few post-mint damages, making it one of the more attractive wheat cents visually. This appeal bolsters its desirability among collectors and investors alike. As a tangible piece of American heritage, the 1941 D large date wheat cent is a testament to the enduring legacy of Lincoln's image and the artistry of early 20th century coinage. In summary, the 1941 D large date Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent in fine condition stands out as a remarkable collector's item due to its historical importance, relatively low survival rate in high grades, and subtle design nuances that appeal to both mainstream collectors and error coin enthusiasts. Its strong presence at auctions with values around and exceeding $300,000 underscores its position as one of the most sought-after wheat cents in the numismatic community. Now, moving on to our next coin, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln wheat, 1 cent 1944 damage date without mint mark in circulated black color, full rusty bad condition. At first glance, this coin might seem like an unlikely candidate for high value due to its severe wear and corrosion, but its story and rarity tell a different tale that has fascinated collectors for decades. The 1944 wheat cent, especially the no mint mark Philadelphia strike, is normally a common date with enormous mintage figures. But certain variations and error coins from this year have pushed collector interest and market prices to surprising heights. The 1944 wheat cent was minted during the final year of World War II, a time when the U.S. economy was mobilized for war production and many metals were rationed or redirected. Notably, 1943 saw the mint produce steel cents instead of the usual copper due to copper's critical wartime use, but 1944 marked the return to copper cents with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. This switch back to copper is significant historically, making the 1944 wheat cent the first copper Lincoln cent after the steel experiment of 1943. The coin features the familiar wheat reverse design, symbolic of agricultural prosperity and hope, while the obverse showcases the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln. However, what makes this particular 1944 wheat cent so valuable and sought after is its damage date variety, a known mint error where the date on the coin appears distorted, misaligned, or partially struck incorrectly. Combined with its circulated black coloration and full rust, the coin tells a unique tale of survival through decades of wear and exposure. This damage date error is extremely rare, with only a handful of verified specimens known to collectors. The mint error results from die damage or strike issues during production, where the date numerals are compromised, either partially missing, doubled, or overlapped. Such anomalies, while detracting from the coin's aesthetic beauty, dramatically increase their rarity and intrigue within the collector community. Despite its circulated black color and heavy rust, the coin's error status makes it highly desirable. Typically, coins in such poor condition would be dismissed or valued at only a few dollars, but the error variety here overrides condition concerns. The black color results from oxidation over many years, forming a dark patina known as toning, which, combined with heavy rust, creates a unique surface appearance that confirms the coin's long history and authenticity. The mintage of the 1944 no mint mark wheat cent was astronomical. Over 1.3 billion coins were struck in Philadelphia alone, making it one of the most common Lincoln cents ever produced. Yet, only a minute fraction exhibits the damage date error, which is why this coin's value defies typical supply and demand logic. Collectors prize these error coins because they represent a tangible flaw in the minting process and are part of the coin's narrative. Collector interest in this variety stems from both its rarity and the dramatic story that the coin's condition tells. Coins like this one are considered eye-catching, despite, or sometimes because of, their flaws. The damage date variety is cataloged in numismatic references as a key variety, and coins authenticated by professional grading services command extraordinary premiums at auction. Recent auction records demonstrate that despite its seemingly poor condition, the 1944 damage date no mint mark wheat cent has achieved prices exceeding $350,000 in specialized numismatic sales. This is a testament to the high regard collectors have for mint errors, especially when combined with the coin's historical importance as a wartime copper cent. In addition to the damage date error, this coin also attracts collectors fascinated by the black color and heavy rust condition. While corrosion normally reduces a coin's value, in this case, it adds to the coin's story and authenticity. Coins with unusual toning and environmental effects often develop unique collector followings because each coin's surface tells a distinct history of its journey through time. Design-wise, the 1944 wheat cent follows the classic pattern established since 1909. The obverse depicts Lincoln's bust facing right, with the inscription, "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date on the right. The reverse features the wheat ears on both sides with 1 cent in the middle, and United States of America below, topped by the motto E pluribus unum. The error on the date area interrupts the normal crispness and uniformity expected from coins, making it a rare and valuable specimen. In the numismatic market today, coins that combine error status with historical wartime significance continue to attract premium prices. The 1944 damage date No Mint Mark wheat cent in circulated black rusty condition is an excellent example of this trend. It appeals not only to wheat cent enthusiasts, but also to error coin collectors and investors looking for unique pieces that stand out in any collection. To sum up, this particular coin's high auction value, well over $350,000, is driven by its rare mint error, historical copper composition post-1943 steel cent experiment, and the unique patina and damage that authenticate its journey. It's a vivid reminder that sometimes, even coins that appear heavily worn and damaged hold stories and value far beyond their surface condition. If you're fascinated by these coins or have questions about adding them to your collection, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth coin insights and market updates on valuable coins. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.